Hello and welcome back to another video on the Football Zone and to a weekend previewing this week's Premier League and Championship action. Let's get straight into it with the Premier League and with Brentford versus Brighton. This is quite an interesting game because Brentford obviously got hammered by Newcastle last time out. I'm not sure it's fully deserving. Brighton, 1 point from 2 under deserving so far, but have been against two of the big six. So yeah, they've had a bit of a mixed start, I'd say. I don't know, this game just seems like a draw to me, especially with Brentford being at home. Moving on then to Leicester as they take on Crystal Palace on Saturday now. Leicester, they'll come into this one. They really felt like they were going to get their season going, didn't they? With that 4-0 win against Forest, but no, they're going to lose 2-1 to Bournemouth, and that's kind of back to square one. Palace, they're getting a big win against Leeds, and that really could set them up. So it's both these teams who are really looking to get their season going. I think Leicester at home, I just kind of fancy them here. I'm going to say a 2-0 Leicester one. I think eventually they're going to get going. Why can't it be tomorrow? But moving on then to Fulham against Bournemouth, and Fulham, they come into this one off the back of 2 losses in a row, 3 in their last 4. One was against Tottenham though. After such a promising start, maybe they're starting to go downhill a bit. So they need a win to arrest the slide. But Bournemouth under Gary O'Neill just keep on going really well, don't they? Still unbeaten under him, I believe, and quite a remarkable turnaround from Scott Parker, that 9-0 defeat, etc., etc. This kind of does lead to a hard brain to predict it. I'm going to say it leans towards a draw. I'm going to say 1-1. Moving on then to Wolves as they take on Nottingham Forest, and once again, this is a big game for both these sides down at the bottom. Wolves obviously on a terrible run of form. Lopetegui's not coming in now, which is a blow, because I think he would have been a really solid appointment. They've lost the last 3 now. Forest, got that win and draw last time out, but still they need a win, don't they? It's a hard one to predict, but I think Wolves at home probably will fancy their chances, and I'm going to say it'll be a 2-0 Wolves win. Moving on then to the White Hart Lane as Tottenham take on Everton at White Hart Lane, I already said that. Tottenham coming into this one in solid form, in a good position to qualify in Champions League now, picking up a good win away at a solid team like Brighton, so they'll be feeling confident going into this one. Everton, on the other hand, 2-1 loss to United, but before that on a really, really good run, and were unbeaten for quite a while before that. So, I think they'll come into this one confidence, but Tottenham at home, I think they'll feel like this is a game they should win, and to be honest, I do think they will win it. I'm going to say it'll be 2-0 to Spurs. Moving on then to Sunday's Premier League action, a lot of Premier League football, 4 games up for 2 o'clock, and Aston Villa taking on Chelsea. Villa unbeaten in 4, but you could say 1 win in 4 with 3 draws in there. So a bit frustrating, but still, kind of hard to tell their form. But Chelsea doing really well since Graham Potter arrived. Still haven't faced a stern test so far. I'd say they would have enough to beat Villa, but we'll see. I'm going to say it'll be 2-0 to the Chelsea. Moving on then to Leeds as they take on Arsenal at Ellen Road. And Leeds, after a really promising start, it's gone downhill a bit for them recently. Currently to 14th after 5 games without a victory. Arsenal, they're absolutely flying. Another win in a week, and not against Bodo Glimt, not the best side in the world, but still the last 2 games against Liverpool and Tottenham in the Premier League really showed that they mean business this season. I think that's hard to deny now. In this one, I'm going to say it'll be 3-0 to Arsenal. Moving then to Manchester United as they take on Newcastle at Old Trafford, and Man United 2 wins on the trot in the last few games, and looking pretty solid now. Obviously you had that Man City game which was a bit of a blip, but still bit frustrating, I think it's Man City, it's always going to be the case. Newcastle, they're on a really good run at the moment as well, so that won't be an easy game for them, but I fancy United at home to just about edge it 1-0. Moving on then to Southampton as they take on West Ham at St Mary's, and Southampton, they've lost the last 4, and Rush are really going on Ralph Hasenhuttl. So to be honest, I'm surprised he's still in a job. I thought even if it was Man City, he may still go, but it seems like he has survived. I think if he loses this, he could well go. But against the West Ham side, though, 3 wins on the trot, they're starting to find some form now. I think they will have a big team match for Southampton here. I'm going to say 1-0. Moving on then to Liverpool as they take on Man City at Anfield. Liverpool, what a bloody win that was last time out, 7-1 against Rangers, absolutely flying. Man City, draw against Copenhagen in the week, but you'd say that won't really affect them. Haaland was resting and all of that. And a big game like this, it's kind of a game where you'd expect players like Haaland to really come to the fore, and that's probably what will happen here. And yeah, I will say it will be a 2-0 win for City. I think they got too much. Moving on then to the Championship and Luton against QPR. And yeah, this one's definitely a really interesting one on Saturday lunchtime, because yeah, Luton, they've gone unbeaten in 5, but just 2 wins from that period, so they need to get some more wins. But QPR are absolutely flying under McBeal, but this won't be an easy game for them at all against two sides you probably expect to be around the playoffs come the end of the season. I'm going to say it will be a 1-1 draw, but yeah, you do feel like this is the ultimate game that could go either way. Moving on then to Rotherham as they take on Huddersfield at the New York Stadium. And yeah, Rotherham, once again after a promising start, they formed kind of dipped a bit in the last 4, 2 draws and 2 losses against the Huddersfield side, who picked up 4 points from the last 2 under Rotherham and definitely seems to be improving. This is quite an interesting game. I think it's a game where both of these teams will really fancy their chances to pick up some points, so it'll be interesting to see which way it goes. I'm going to say it will be a 1-1 draw. Moving on then to Bristol City as they take on Millwall at Ashton Gate. And yeah, Bristol City picking up a big win in the week against Preston. You really do feel like that could be a big win for them after a bit of a poor run of form to arrest the slide. And then Millwall, they come into this one off the back of that 2-0 win against Borough and maybe starting to turn the corner after a bit of frustrating form under Gary Rowell. We'll have to see how it goes. It's a game that's hard to predict, so I'm going to go down the middle and say it'll be a draw. I'll say 0-0. Moving on then to Blackburn as they travel to Middlesbrough at the Riverside. And yeah, this is another interesting game because Middlesbrough obviously got rid of Chris Wilder. New manager search seems to be a bit of a mess. Maybe haven't got the perfect replacement yet. And then they're taking on the Blackburn side who are just so inconsistent. It's impossible to say what you're going to get from Blackburn. Win-loss. How many times have we said it? Lost to Wigan in the week, so that means they're probably due a win. But I don't know, I can feel Middlesbrough maybe getting a surprise result here. I don't know, I've just got something that tells me they're going to do it. I'm going to say 2-0 to the Borough. Moving on then to Preston as they take on Stoke at Deepdale. And yeah, Preston, obviously that must have been so frustrating because they picked up 2 really solid wins against Norwich and West Brom, 2 teams you expect to be up there, and then go and lose to Bristol City away when they weren't in good form at all. Against the Stoke side, who just beat Sheffield United. So both teams coming off the back of really impressive wins, but Preston haven't managed to follow it up. But still at home, I don't know, I'm just about backing them. I'm going to say 1-0. Moving on then to Reading as they take on West Brom at the Medeski. And Jeff, for me, this is definitely a really hard one to call because obviously Reading in really good form, but obviously had those disappointing week last week, just 1 point from 2. But it was against tough opposition. Against the West Brom side who's just sacked Steve Bruce, and you do feel like could be a bit of a confidence booster. Interim manager in charge though, which may be disappointing for them. Would have maybe wanted a permanent manager in, but still it's a hard one to call. I think West Brom will get a bit of a reaction, but will it be enough to beat Reading? I don't know. I'm going to say draw. Moving on then to Sheffield United as they take on Blackpool at Bramall Lane. And yes, Sheffield United, they're coming into this one off the back of 2 losses in the trot and a really bad injury crisis, which you feel is thwarting their progress definitely. It's a hard one to call because Blackpool are coming into this one with more form, a win and a draw against Watford and Sheffield United, so definitely improving, but still at home, I don't know, I'm fancying Blades for this one. I'm going to say 2-0. Moving on then to Sunderland as they take on Wigan at the Stadium of Light. And yes, Sunderland, they're coming into this one off the back of, a really disappointing run after being on such a great run of form, because obviously they had those really good results, but then they've just seemed to draw a lot and then lost last time out. So yeah, that'd be disappointing for them. But Wigan coming off the back of that 1-0 win against Blackburn after a bit of inconsistent form before that, you'd have hoped that would have given them some confidence. It'll be interesting to see if they can back it up. I'm going to say a Sunderland win here. I don't know, I just feel like they're so inconsistent. Moving on then to Burnley as they take on Swansea at Turf Moor. And yeah, Burnley, coming into this one off the back of that Coventry win, that's a big win for them, but Swansea absolutely flying as well, so it's a hard one to call this because Burnley, you feel like that win will give them some confidence after a few games of being frustrated with draws, home advantage, I'm going to edge towards Burnley, but it's a game that you really feel could go either way. Moving on then to Cardiff as they take on Coventry at the Cardiff City Stadium. And yeah, Cardiff 2 wins on the trot now, really picking up under interim manager. You feel like he'll just be given the job now against a Coventry side who, just inconsistent. Only 1 loss from the last 5, which is definitely improvement for a team that's stuck to the bottom, even with game in hands. But yeah, I mean, still, I fancy Cardiff for the win here. They just seem to be a lot better at the moment, really, since Morrison then. Moving on then to Watford as they take on Norwich at Vicarage Road, and yeah, both these sides coming off the back of a few disappointing results. Watford lost to Blackpool last time out, Norwich lost to Preston, both teams that you'd really expect them to win. Preston probably already going on Slaven Bilic, let's be honest. So yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see which way this goes. But yeah, I think both teams will fancy their chances, but it's a game that both teams won't want to lose. And yeah, I'm going to go down the middle and say it'll be a draw. Moving on then to the final game, and that is Hull versus Birmingham on Sunday on telly. And yeah, this is once again an interesting one because Hull struggling at the moment. They need to get that defence sorted. And yeah, Birmingham really going along quite nicely. 1 win from the last 4, but you know, still they're playing quite well and doing well under Eustace. So yeah, it's an interesting one, but I just feel like Hull could be a big game for them. Pick up the victory with all the uncertainty going on. It just feels like that's kind of in the script. I'm going to say 1-0 to Hull. But anyway, guys, that's it for here. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, leave us thoughts, comments down there, and follow us for daily F1 news and subscribe to the channel. It's greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.